One of the hardest things to do in this life is to keep your emotions in check when life is kicking your ass, when life is getting the best of you. One of the most difficult things to do is to keep your emotions in check. To not get too high, to not get too low, to not let the depression take over, to not let the anxiety take over, to not let the doubts take over, to not let what other people said about you take over, to let that have a very small place in your mind, a very small place in your heart. It's there because you're human. But not let it take up so much real estate within you that it freezes you, right? That it causes you to take no action. That's a powerful thing. What's going on, my beautiful people, man? This is Will Z Tidwell with SpeakUPZee, and you're not tuned into the episode of SpeakUPZee the podcast. In the podcast where we talk about real things with real people, everything from life to business to mental health and everything else in between. Man, you know something I'm learning about life, man, the more I keep living. 28 years. Man, you can plan all you want to. It's good to write it down. It's good to have a direction. It's good to have a strategy. It's good to have this vision, right? It's good to have those things. But what I'm learning the more I live is that the most successful people, the ones that always seem to make it through, the ones that always seem to persevere, the ones that always seem to make a way, are the ones that have the plan, they have the direction, they have the vision for their life. But when life starts to happen and everything you wrote down isn't happening for you, it isn't coming true, it isn't making sense anymore, the most successful people are able to pivot and still make a way. The most successful people understand that the way I get to this thing that I wanted, the way I get to this destination, it may not look exactly how I thought it was going to look. It may not be perfect and cookie cut like it was supposed to look on this paper that I wrote it down. But I understand that if I just keep the course, if I learn how to adjust, if I learn how to pivot, if I learn how to do things on the fly, if I don't let my emotions get the best of me when things don't go my way, I'll still end up in the same place. I'll still end up doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing. It's just that the direction that God takes you and that life takes you, it might be a little different from what you envision in your head. But see, a lot of people, man, when it happens, when it's not exactly how it was written out, when it's not exactly how it looked on the paper, when it's not exactly how it looked in their head, if it's not exactly how it was in that conversation you had, a lot of people panic. A lot of people can't go on the fly. A lot of people can't just roll with the punches, so to speak. A lot of people can't just figure it out as they go. And what happens is, what I'm noticing is that when things don't go a lot of different people's ways, man, we just shut down. We don't even try to fight anymore. We don't even try to figure it out. We don't even try to regroup and come up with a new plan, man. We just lay down and give up. And as disruptive as it may be, and frustrating as it may be, and even disheartening as it may be, when things don't go your way, when the plan isn't making sense anymore. I think the greatest skill that you could ever learn is how to pivot. It's how to figure things out on the fly. It's how to say, okay, this didn't work, but how can I still make sure that I accomplish what I was trying to do? How can I still get to the destination of where it is I said I wanted to go? How can I still make sure that this happens, even though I had a few bumps in the road? And what I'm learning the more and more I live is that most people can't do that. But I think it takes a certain amount of emotional intelligence to be able to do something like that. You know what I mean? Because one of the hardest things to do in this life is to keep your emotions in check when life is kicking your ass, when life is getting the best of you. One of the most difficult things to do is to keep your emotions in check. To not get too high, to not get too low, to not let the depression take over, to not let the anxiety take over, to not let the doubts take over, to not let what other people said about you take over, to let that have a very small place in your mind, a very small place in your heart. It's there because you're human. But not letting it take up so much real estate within you that it freezes you, right? That it causes you to take no action. That's a powerful thing. So I guess what I'm really trying to say to you is that I hope you learn to roll with the punches. And for the person that already is, man, I hope that you keep rolling with the punches. Because one thing I know for sure is that your life ain't perfect. I know some stuff ain't going the way that you planned. I know some stuff just not really making sense sometimes, and it got you questioning some things. I get that. But even when those inconveniences happen in your life, even when those frustrating times happen in your life, when all that starts to take place, I think my real prayer for you is that you don't let your anxiety get the best of you. That you don't let your depression get the best of you. That you don't let your self-doubt get the best of you. That you don't let your frustration get the best of you. That you have enough clarity within your mind, within your heart, to sit still and say, okay, this happened. This happened to me. How am I going to deal with it? What do I do next? And make that decision from a place of clarity and peace and not a place of frustration and hastiness. Because when we do that, we end up setting ourselves back even further than life already did. That's the crazy thing, is that the reason why checking your emotions is so important is because if you don't, and you make this move or you have this reaction out of hastiness or frustration or, not ever really thinking it through, you make the situation 10 times worse than what it was before. It wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even that deep, but now it is. Why? Because we moved off emotions instead of moving off of strategy. We moved off of frustration instead of moving off of faith. We moved out of anger instead of moving with God. So again, man, my prayer for you is that you learn how to pivot. That you know how to figure it out on the fly. That you're so connected to God and you're so connected to a higher being than just yourself. That you don't let things that you really have no control over anyway when it comes to life, you don't let those control your life. If I could tell anybody that one thing about my life so far in almost 30 years, I think it would be that. I love you, man. Peace. Hey, what's up? This is Will Z Tidwell with SpeakUPZee. And I just want to take a quick second just to thank you for tuning in to this latest episode of SpeakUPZee Podcast. And my only goal with this platform is to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you around all things life, business, and mental health, whether it's myself or me bringing on a special guest. So I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. We don't ask for any type of monetary gains or anything like that. The best thing you could do for us is just like and subscribe to the channel. Until next week, we'll see y'all later. Peace.